So we're moving the doghouse from stage to backstage, and to be fair, everybody on the cast helps move shit.
Yeah.
The curtain closes or lights go dark, and we help move shit because we didn't have a lot of stage hands. Danielle Chevalier just she's holding up her end. There's 4 people moving the doghouse, pretty heavy. We put it down, fucking bam, glass on her finger, lacerates, cuts that shit open, and she's bleeding. And you're talking about a high school sophomore girl, who sees blood, fucking wah, and fucking went screaming from the backstage area immediately to the bathroom. Wise choice, but crying, just panicked. And she's supposed to do the scene. So we're at a fucking,
what do you do?
What the fuck happens? What do you do? So I went out and just improvised. And Snoopy's on stage at this point, and Snoopy's waiting for Lucy to have the scene with Lucy and shit. And so I was just, Charlie Brown's on stage too.
Yeah. And
I go out and I'm just like, I'm looking for, and I go out, I grab a clipboard, and I go out and I'm like, I'm looking for a Snappy. And they're like, Snappy? Well, you don't have a Snappy, we have a Snoopy. Who are you? I'm like, I'm the dog catcher. And we just kind of riff a fucking 2-3 minute interlude.
Waiting for
and just cracking jokes and dog jokes and shit like that. But it was the only time I got some fucking play in the good man Charlie Brown. Didn't get any credit for it. It wasn't like Miss Crowley. It was a good job. You
good
saved
save.
us. Yeah, she was just like.
Was it? Did you just do it, or was there a moment of like? Was it like someone's got to do something?
It really was. And being that it was a high school musical, we were all like, someone's got to do something, like in a very affectedly gay voice. There was once she left and I heard, she's supposed to be on stage, I was like, fucking, what are we going to do? I mean, you don't want to stop the show.
Yeah.
Because it's not like she lost a finger.
The show must go on.
As they say. Fucking, our motto at the Hudson, the Hudson Repertory Players was the show must go on. So I just kind of, quick thinking, ran out and shit. There was a part of me that was just like, here's my fucking chance.
Yeah.
And Miss Crowley, I think, looked at me like I dropped the fucking doghouse on Danielle's finger on purpose.
Just in case.
In a real All About Eve kind of way, so I could go out there and fucking steal the show and whatnot. But I didn't. It just happened. I just kind of went up there and
then did she re-entered the show as Lucy with a Band-Aid?
She came back with a really good ad-lib, if you know the show, where she's just like, what is everyone standing around for? What is it, supper time? And supper time's the big Snoopy number. So the audience was like, they all applauded and shit like that. And then the show went on as normal. But I took that chorus part and did it and fucking did the grind because I'm like, well, Crowley's going to stick around. Senior year, she's going to be in charge of the play, so I want to get...
You wanted to make up for your
Got to make up
discretion.
for my fucking, my rebellion and shit like that so I can get a good part. Senior year, Crowley doesn't do the fucking show. Mr. Rogers does the show, so it didn't matter. I didn't have to fucking mea culpa. Didn't have to go through purgatory and shit. Wound up, we did Grease. Ernie got to play Kenickie. So Ernie got to say "fuck you" to the stage twice, and still got to play the lead senior year. He got to play he got to play Danny Zuko. I'm sorry. Then I got the role of Kenickie. The Jeff Conaway.
Conaway, yeah.
In the movie, but in the show, in the play, Kenickie sings "Grease Lightning." In the movie, John Travolta as Danny Zuko sang "Grease Lightning." In the show, in the play, in the stage version, Kenickie sings it. So imagine me, the most heavy-set Kenickie that ever tread the boards, in a leather coat that barely covers my fucking gut, wearing a white T-shirt, which sometimes a coat would come off, and I got a pack of cigarette rolled in my white T-shirt sleeve, and you see stretch marks down mine. Just the most unsightly Kenickie that ever took the fucking stage. Having to get up there and fucking do Grease Lightning and do it just because that's the fucking number everybody knows from Grease. They know, Summer Lovin', but they know fucking Grease Lightning and shit. Ernie was pissed he didn't get to sing Grease Lightning. But he made up for it because he got to dance and shake his booty and shit in that number. And I didn't. I mean, I shake my booty when I fucking take a step. I can't help but shake the booty. The flap just keeps going. But it was a weird experience having to fucking be the dude who sings the big show-stopping number and being aesthetically not what people are used to seeing. Nobody wants to see a fat Kenickie.
I'm not... I'm not. I'd be all for it.
Think of a show, very famous, Sound of Music.
Okay.
Let's say you went to see the Sound of Music. Now you've seen the movie.
I've seen the movie.
Okay, let's say you went to see a stage version of the Sound of Music, and the Maria part, how do we solve a problem like Maria?
Yeah.
The Julie Andrews part. was played by like a 600-pound woman, you would just be like, wow, is this really taking me out of the show?
I don't know why it's suddenly like gone from you played Kenickie to a 600-pound woman.
Well, I wasn't 600 pounds, but I was pretty fucking relatively fat. I'm just saying, like, Julie Andrews, Tiny Slipper thing. You saw some fat broad get up there and say a role of Maria. It would take you out of the show. You'd be like, no way, Mr. Captain Von Trapp wants to marry this fucking
but they're
pig.
in Germany, man. They were like buxom women.
A lot of eating broads there.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would say
that might actually be the closest realist telling of the story.
I would be like, I don't want this skinny thing. She'll never make it across the fucking mountains. It's more realistic that she was some big, huge broad.
Well, but the other side of that is like, what fat broad is going to make it up the mountain in the first place, crossing into Austria? Are they crossing into Austria, or are they crossing...
Aren't they in Austria?
They're in Austria, and they got to get out of Austria because the fucking Nazis are getting all weird.
I mean, if she was, like, large, but not, like, freakishly obese.
Let's say she looked like one of those broads where, they have to rip a wall off a house to get her out.
Well, if it's like that would take me out of anything.
That's what I'm saying. So you see a Fat Kenickie up there. Everyone else on that stage was thin, except yours truly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, but once again, it's like you have to
be a lover.
You have to make it like apples and apples. You can't sit there and say like apples.
All right, so it's Rosie O'Donnell playing Maria in Sound of Music.
I've seen the videotape of you playing Kenickie. It actually exists. And there was no part of me which is just like, he's gonna land on somebody. This is dangerous.
You didn't look at me and think like, look at him. He's not hungry for fucking what's the character Stockard Channing's Rizzo. He ain't hungry for Rizzo. He's hungry for a sub. He wants to eat a sandwich.
I mean, it was
go grease lightning, more like go big greasy piece of chicken that he eats.
That's not what happened.
I guess it's weird when you're inside.
I mean, it's like you were, at the end of the day, the best way to describe it is you were a stocky version of the character.
I mean, stocky is polite, sir. I was like 3 Kenickies, jammed into one fucking shirt or something.
But Kenickie, it's like, I mean, maybe if you were just like, if it was Danny Zuko, you might sit there and be like, okay, but like in that world, it's like, well, Kenickie's the one guy who could be that, who I think could. Like, to me, it's not outside of the realm of possibility that Kenickie could be the one guy who was, like, slightly heavier.
So what you're saying is it's okay for Kenickie to be fat, but if you saw the play and I played Danny Zuko, you'd be real taken out of it? You'd be like, well, if Danny Zuko can't be fat, he would never land in Australia. What I'm saying is, like, broad. Your
theory of, like, being taken out by people's sort of, like, connection to what they're used to.
Right.
I would say that... Danny Zuko is more the character that would make people go like,
So essentially what you're saying is, just as in the Jay and Silent Bob pair-up,
yes,
I am the fat sidekick. In Grease, as Kenickie the fat sidekick, it was easier to accept than if the roles had been reversed and I was the fat leading man.
I'm saying that based on your idea that, like, people people have an image of Julie Andrews. People have it's like when people think Grease,
right,
and like Kenickie. Well, when people think Grease, they think Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta.
Right.
It's like it even took you a second to remember Jeff Conway's name.
It did. It took me a heartbeat or two.
So I'm just saying that, like, as a secondary character, it's like I think it's easier for people to not associate. There's not as much association with, like, a star or somebody.
I would imagine there was a lot of confusion in the audience with people being like, "Who's he playing? Wait, he's the fat guy, but he's not." He's all right. He's Pork and Rizzo, and in the show, in the movie, it was the thin dude. But how he's suddenly stealing the Greased Lightning away from fucking John Travolta, played by Ernie O'Donnell, like,
or just by virtue of you singing the song.
Yes, well, they're just so accustomed to seeing Grease the film or the movie that when you're introduced to Grease the play, and suddenly things aren't exactly the way they were in that show.
Well, it makes more sense ultimately when you think about it that, like, it is his car.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the context of the movie, it's like John Travolta comes in. He's like, I'm going to sing a song about your fucking car.
And what I'm going to do to
And then
your
he takes it at the end.
And basically, Kenickie winds up...
He's
like,
a thief.
In the movie, he winds up with a, like, keep talking, whoa, keep talking.
About
and
my
like,
car.
Yeah, how about, may I take a line? It's like, no, go Grease Lightning.
And then at the end of the movie, he ends up with a fucking pregnant chick, and the dude takes his car and fucking flies away.
It is kind of a strange movie when you think about it. It's really all about how, like, you can't trust anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Your best friend.
Kenickie gets fucked over.
Right. Kenickie's left with the fucking saucy slut who he maybe he knocked up, maybe he didn't.
Yeah.
You don't know. And then his car gets stolen by an allegedly gay Scientologist.